Hi, this is Dr. Greg again, and I promised a video about COVID and some interesting research that I came upon. It's not really complicated, but it's not even convoluted. It's just a couple of things that I want to talk about. And it's about the colder months. Now, what's interesting is a 2002 study came out by the US and Canadian armies, US and Canadian armies, no less, that cold exposure, being outside, actually increases your immune system's strength. There's something called natural killer cells in your immune system, and they actually increase when you're exposed to cold. And natural killer cells are what actually destroy viruses in your own body. So that's interesting. So exposure to cold, increased in colder temperatures, actually make you more strong against viruses and other bacteria. It makes you stronger, makes your immune system more robust. So what does that mean? Get the hell outdoors in the wintertime. Bundle up, breathe in the fresh air, and get cold. That's number one. Number two is interesting. It's tied in the fact that the colder months tend to have, we have less exposure to sun during the colder months. It's not as sunny out, number one, and the days are shorter. Now, this can actually be tied into vitamin D levels. Sun exposure increases our vitamin D. It's a natural way of creating vitamin D. What they've discovered recently in a study of COVID patients is that 87% of them, now let me get the right number here, 87% had vitamin D levels that were lower. I'm sorry, give me a second here. And here it is. Yes. So 80 vitamin D levels were lower than 20. Now, when you have levels, you have something called, they measure it on, it can go from 20, 30, up to 100. It's just a number that's on your lab report that tells you what your vitamin D level is. So COVID patients all had vitamin D levels that were low. 20 is low. Normal is 30. But what they are suggesting, and I had talked about vitamin D before in terms of breast cancer and other types of cancer, that should be above 40 or 50. So what does that mean? Cold is great for you, and vitamin D is great for you. But you can't get enough vitamin D in the wintertime because you're not exposed to the sun as much. Now, eggs have a great source of vitamin D, but you may need to supplement your vitamin D during the winter months. So what does that mean is if you know your vitamin D level and it's less than 40, you want to increase, you want to supplement it. If it's greater than 40, you're probably okay. You just want to check it. Now, if you can't check your vitamin D level for whatever reason, taking vitamin D is not necessarily going to hurt you. So what you want to do is do 5 to 10,000 units every other day, because vitamin D is a fat-soluble vitamin, and get outside and get as much sun exposure as you can in the wintertime, which is very difficult, but get outside and get cold. That's all I have for you this week. Just I thought it would be very interesting for you to find out things that you can actually do right now to help you fight this COVID stuff. All right? This is Dr. Greg, changing the way we look at health.